Today in the crypto space, we see the market looking nice and strong. Bitcoin right around $100,000, trying to push for higher levels, and Ethereum doing pretty good right around 3,300. But these altcoins, some of them are deep in the green. We have Cardano, Litecoin, HBAR, Sonic, and many others right now showing some really good strength to the upside. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project, one gaming project that a lot of people are looking forward to a nice bounce from. And that project is called Beam. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. Before we get into Bitcoin and the Beam chart, let's scrape through the top 100 and we'll look at the market cap. Look, the market cap's rising very, very nicely, $3.7 trillion at the current moment, pretty much. And we see a bit of an uptick in volume, nothing too strong, but a little grind to the upside is, definitely, acceptable. And ultimately, we welcome any pumps, any volume right now. Obviously, a little bit more would be epic, but I think a lot of the market is hesitant right now. Hesitant at the fact is, it's hitting a nice diagonal level, and it could be, a bit of sell pressure, given that retailers love those diagonal trend lines, and we're getting a bit of a hesitation. Ultimately, it's very possible that we get a squeeze to the upside, and obviously it's very, very possible that we do get a dip. And if we do, be prepared here, guys. Be prepared, because as you can see, the market can reverse very, very quickly. Look what Bitcoin has been doing in the last little while. Right now, it's at about $100,000, pushing to higher levels. In fact, as we speak, Bitcoin's trying to break trend or break structure and move to the upside for another impulse, while Ethereum is kind of looking a bit stagnant. And the rest of the crypto space, these altcoins are also a little bit stagnant. Now, some of them, not all of them, right? Obviously, not XRP. XRP today is doing great. Nice move to the upside. Obviously above the $3 mark. Really, really bullish here. Up 44.6% in 7 days. However, guys, this is something that we have to understand, is that if Ethereum is showing weakness and Bitcoin is showing strength, it really means that Bitcoin dominance right now should be on fire. And the reality is Bitcoin sucking liquidity out of the altcoins is something that we need to anticipate, meaning that altcoins could get a bit of that negative pressure because Bitcoin is, drawing all that liquidity away from the riskier assets. And then eventually we will get a rotation. We will get, even if it's a short-term rotation. Guys, we get altcoin season even on the 1-minute chart. The reality is we do get rotations on every single time frame. It's just that, of course, if it's lower time frames, they're not long and they're not extended. So really what we have to expect is that eventually Bitcoin will cool off, and when Bitcoin cools off, people will rotate into altcoins, and that's what we got to be waiting for. In the meantime, we'll see some really good bullish projects keep up with Bitcoin, and for that matter, even outperform Bitcoin. For example, right now we see XRP outperforming Bitcoin clearly. Solana is outperforming Bitcoin clearly. We have Cardano doing well, and it's part of that same narrative, Cardano being, potentially institutionalized into some sort of degree, right? So that's something that we got to understand. We have Sui doing great, another one. Chainlink, obviously, an oracle, the main oracles out there doing very, very good. HBAR, 21%, 22% on HBAR. Guys, I remember the days where I was accumulating HBAR. and then I just stopped all of a sudden, and here we are doing really, really good. And in the rest of the space, so you can see that there's some good gainers, right? Litecoin doing okay, and some of them keeping up, but we're getting some drawbacks in lower cap altcoins because of the volatility that they present, and of course the insecurity that a lot of people have of the risk taken by those lower caps. But the large caps are showing some strength here. VeChain, we have Algorand doing okay. We have Caspa doing good and grinding to the upside. Filecoin is not bad, at least holding good there, and there's many others. The thing is that we are potentially seeing signs of rotation. Large caps, mid caps, small caps, micro caps, you get what I mean? And eventually we see that capital flow down bit by bit, and that's usually a sign of an altcoin season. Guys, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but as soon as we see the Bitcoin dominance fall, we are potentially going to get into a really strong phase in this cycle where the altcoins start flourishing. Okay, so let's just keep an eye on it. I feel like Bitcoin still needs to run a little bit more, obviously, before that happens. And in the meantime, we'll try to stay one step ahead of this market for sure. Lots of good price action, as you can see. I would say between 5 to 10% is definitely expected. And yeah, we got Farcoin definitely climbing to much higher levels, 82% in the last 7 days. What a beast, what a beast. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, Bitcoin is the leading indicator. And is Bitcoin showing us strength? Right now, it is. Guys, as long as we're above the $92,000 level, Bitcoin is strong. And at the end of the day, if we start breaking out, we start looking for every other areas of resistance that we need to break above. And the next level, 102K. Let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. Really, guys, right now we're doing pretty good. We're not out of the woods yet. However, guys, it's starting to look really good even on the daily. In order for me to get bullish on the daily, I need to break above this high, right? We need to see Bitcoin break above 102K, but at this current moment, it's not bad. This reversal was absolutely epic, and it's very typical for a stop hunts, liquidity hunts, and all that kind of stuff. And I started getting bullish right into here. That's where I was like, okay, guys, time to get risk on. And you can see this is all a great move. Now on the daily, doesn't look like a lot. Now on the daily, of course, on Bitcoin, it's a few percent to the upside. And if we do a measurement to where we are right now, it is 6-7% more or less. But if you start looking at some of the altcoins, guys, they've been ripping it. Some of them have been ripping it and tearing it up, right? So ultimately, this is what you have to do, is when Bitcoin is showing strength, you have to be able to endure the volatility on the altcoin market, because the altcoin market eventually will get its rotation and get bigger moves. But at the same time, if you get in the right projects, like I just showed you, some of them will outperform Bitcoin significantly, even if the Bitcoin dominance is not dipping. So the challenge is this: paying attention to Bitcoin. When Bitcoin shows strength, you get into altcoins, get into the right altcoins, and be patient. And that's a big challenge, right? Being patient is probably the hardest thing. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. Now, as you can see, volatility and momentum right now. Okay, momentum, it clearly broke trend. I'm trying to keep this as tight as possible. It clearly broke a little bit of trend as it did before. Could it get back into this zone? It could be very possible. Volatility is right now pushing to the upside. I would at least want to wait for volatility to get overbought as it has done in the past before I get concerned. Right now, I am not concerned yet. Okay, let's at least get above the thick red line right here, and then we can introduce a bit of defensiveness on the gains. Right now, we're doing okay. Okay, so that's that. Now, if you look at a trend oscillator, EMAs are facing up, red histogram bars in the bullish control zone. We're doing good. Nothing to worry about here. Pretty bullish. So that's that. The daily's okay. It's holding up very nicely. I think where the majority of us are more interested is what's the 4-hour doing. And we saw the 4-hour, play out very nice. And right now we're looking for a potential higher high if we break above this previous high. Okay. And if momentum and trend is in our favor, then we're doing good. And you can see the 4-hour right now, even after last night, what I told you, that this thing would dip and volatility might come down all the way down here, guys. We're getting a bit of a Uno reverse right now, sign of strength. Could it be something like that? It could be. It could be. Why not? Right? It could be something like this where we go up, maybe come back down, maybe we don't go that deep, and then we go for overbought conditions again. But the most important thing, if you follow what happened in this area, using it as a fractal, is that the momentum was in an upwards direction. Volatility didn't have the strength to really get completely oversold below the green line. And what about if this happens again, where we do maybe the same thing, right? We come down here, or maybe we reverse right here. That's all possible, right? And then all of a sudden we see volatility push up again. But guess what happens to momentum? Momentum, in fact, got really overbought. And this is where the magic happens. Above the 70% is where the majority of the gains are at. Okay, guys, that's where the real moves and the real expansions begin. And that's where we start to really see the green expansion here that is forming here on the 4-hour really get extended and give us that strength that we're looking for. And obviously, that's when on the 4-hour, we can start saying, okay, is there confluence here to suggest, you know, let's take some profit, or at minimum, let's trail up a stop loss well into profit so we can protect the gains. And if it continues, great. And if it doesn't, at least we have that stop loss ready to go to protect ourselves from, you know, giving our gains back to the market. So right now that's looking super good. And the divergence got its follow through. EMAs are now facing up. Green histogram bars to the upside, and the expansion is full force right now. A little bit of a dip down, but as you see here, where that fractal that I just showed you could definitely happen, where, you know, the bulls are not enough. We're in the bullish control zone. Let's be clear. Okay, we're definitely in the bullish control zone right now. As you can see, EMAs are on the top side of the oscillator, which is the bullish control zone. So right now the bulls are in control, on trend on the 4-hour momentum, and also on the daily. The bulls are slowly showing a lot of strength here, guys. This is a really critical level for Bitcoin. If we can start moving here, it's absolutely epic, and it could be an absolutely important time for you to start taking risk. This is risk on moments, right? We're in a bull run. Any dips should be bought. You should be taking risk at horizontal supports. As I mentioned before, this is the times where I was starting to dabble in, and now all of a sudden we're doing okay, and I'm glad I did. I bought a lot of different projects across the market, new narratives, old narratives, good dips, and obviously even some bad dips. We're not perfect, but we want to make sure that as an aggregate, we start accumulating at best opportunities, and this was the zone. Of course, green arrow, and we obviously entertained the possibility of coming down here, which it didn't happen, but all good. We move on, we find more opportunities, and we continue navigating this market as a community. Guys, join the Discord. The Discord has flourished into the greatest community ever. We got lots of good alpha and very supportive. So if you're looking for, you know, a place to, you know, to get that support along the way, we got you covered. Feel free to join. It's absolutely free. Okay, so that's Bitcoin. Let's move on. Let's take a look at Beam. Okay, Beam is a project that I've been following. I added it to my watch list, or not in my watch list, my buy list, my champion of projects within the narrative, right? Which is the gaming narrative. I'm going to quickly just make something very clear to you guys. So if you're interested, or if you know of this project, or if you think you bought this project, double check. What you will have to look for is ensure that you got the one where the icon or the logo is the rainbow. Okay, there's two beams out there right now, and this is a discussion that I have frequently with a lot of people, right? There's two beams out there. One is a gaming project, and I think the other one is DeFi, but one is like a $5 million market cap, and this one is much higher, but still very low in comparison to projects in general. What I'm just trying to say here is, guys, just ensure that you're buying the right beam. On some exchanges it's Beam, on some it's Beam X, and on CoinGecko it is Beam X and Beam. Basically, those Beam and Beam X names or tickers are interchangeable depending on which exchange or which even aggregator or platform you're looking at. So be careful. Basically, look for confluence with the logo and the price. If you can find the same logo and the price, then most likely you're in the right place. And if you can check out the contract, that's even better. Okay, so that's that, guys. Now, obviously, Beam is part of the gaming narrative. Beam in general has, or the gaming in general has been a little bit quiet. So we got to show a little bit of patience. However, if we were bullish on Beam and you still want to accumulate, or you're looking for an entry, right now is not a bad time. So as you can see, this is where I got really bullish on Beam all throughout this level. I have videos there right before we started breaking out and rolling to the upside. I did the deep dive and I kind of liked it. And then from there, I tracked it. And from there, I made videos to help you guys get the good entries, and we got the good entries. Then all of a sudden I said, okay guys, let's make sure that we take profit. This was the zone. Okay, we almost got there, but if you happened to start to see this wick and this weakness, and even if you took profit right around here as we were changing direction, obviously guys, you would have been in a bit of profit. But if you didn't, This is the good news. The good news is that it's back to a level of which support can be obtained. We can definitely see support here. We have a lot of confluence, previous highs, previous bottoms, and more importantly, more locally, all of this emotion. This was the breakout zone from this rounded bottom, this inverse, complex inverse head and shoulder type of scenario. Okay, head, multiple shoulders, reversal pattern, and then all of a sudden this thing starts to really run. It breaks above the 200, it starts to back this and confirm. Well, but technically speaking, we're doing the same thing right now. We're back almost to the 200. We broke below it slightly, hunted a bit of liquidity. Guys, we sniped this horizontal white line almost absolutely perfectly. Too perfectly, to be honest. I feel like it needs to come back down and test it again to confirm, right, that it is. So what I would say here is, if you're bullish, guess what, guys? You're in a good place to DCA and to take a bit of risk before we get that major reversal. I want to quickly do a Fibonacci to get an idea of what kind of retracement we're talking about here. Swing low to swing high, we come down. We're pretty much at the golden pocket, which is a very nice confluent level to start DCA. We got to bounce perfectly on that golden pocket. If we include these bottoms, okay, maybe we came down to the 786 and now we're bouncing back to the golden pocket. So you can see that generally speaking, right, without the accuracy, we're in a good spot here. Very good spot. Okay, then in addition to the Fibonacci, obviously with price action and volume, you can see that there's a volume gap, or even an increase in volume right here that could act as support if we do come down in this zone. If the bears decide to come down, we have, you know, all this liquidity here that needs to be chipped away at before it falls lower. And of course, if the bears have a lot of strength, it could happen. But guess what, guys? The way the markets look right now, the way Bitcoin looks like it wants to break to higher levels, and if it does, it's very likely that people are going to start front running altcoins, and they're going to start front running narratives that haven't been talked about significantly for a good while. Why? Because they have reached the floor price, they have retraced, they've been ignored. There's no volatility, there's a low volatility, almost like the calm before the storm. So I feel like if you haven't gained any exposure in the gaming narrative, right now is not a bad time. It's not like it's pumping or it's being shilled significantly on socials. So this is where you can get in with a bit of calm, right? Definitely with a bit of a nice calm mindset where you can do some DCAing and doing some research on the fundamentals without worrying about buying tops and becoming exit liquidity. So if we start looking at what really is happening right here, we need to start tracking this trend. This trend right here is quite interesting because it's clearly a downtrend, right? And if we kind of like elongate this a little bit, you can pay attention to it in a little bit more of this detail. And what I do like is when I look for long positions, I want oversold. Right? I want oversold conditions. The issue here on the daily is that this thing's not getting oversold. It hasn't gotten oversold in a good while, momentum-wise. Volatility at the current moment is pushing to the upside. Expansion is looking like it might want to taper in and be done, right? So the risk of going into a fresh long at the current moment is that this thing continues trending down, and then we get oversold, and then finally we start going back overbought eventually. That's the risk you take. However, if you look at the price where it is right now, it is very likely that eventually we get some sort of divergence, right? So we're getting lower lows on the momentum. Let's just keep that in mind and see what's going on with the price action. The price action is also in confluence with those lower lows. It's starting to look like a descending wedge, so we're a little bit early here. We're at towards the end point of the edge, or the wedge almost. If we exclude the wicks, it's looking pretty nice. And guys know that these wedges are really, really my favorite type of structure to trade. What I really like about this is this. Look at this trend oscillator. If it starts to reverse to the upside, as you can see, we are also getting some divergence here on the EMAs, on the histogram bars, and obviously also on the expansions. We got divergence right here, and we didn't negate or invalidate that divergence with this bottom. As long as we don't make a lower low, we're doing good. We're still diverging. Why? Because price action is right now making lower lows and lower highs. So lower lows and lower highs on the price action, higher lows on the momentum is a good look ultimately on the daily. And as Bitcoin is also not super bearish on the daily, we're seeing that beam is desperately trying to get its reversal. Now let's quickly get onto the 4 hour, and we can see that we should be looking for a trend break right here on this top of the trend. We're below the 200 EMA. We see the volatility right now pushing down. Is it going to get a Uno reverse right now? Most likely not. I'll be honest. The likelihood of that happening usually is not the case. What we do get is maybe a hesitation and then a continuation. And even if we do get that reversal right here, guys, it's very risky to expect a reversal midway from volatility. I like to always ensure that I take the risk down here, okay? And then expect that once we do get a bounce from this level and go overbought again, just expect that we're going to maintain this trend on momentum. And if you're trading volatility and momentum in the same direction, guys, it is the best opportunity. I've backtested this strategy many times. And of course, if you're interested in this custom oscillator, I got links in the description if you're interested. But really trading the momentum and the volatility in the same direction, especially once the expansion, you can see the expansion in the background, it's totally tapered in, it's done. Right? It's like this, what happened here. Eventually we get some green ones, bigger ones, and bigger bullish green responses. And that's what we're really looking for. We want to see this thing get overbought. The majority of the gains are right here, in this area right here. So volatility's come down, we get a bullish response, momentum continues to the upside eventually, even if it's a little bit of a short-term dip like what happened here, all good, and then we get overbought. And overbought conditions, expect beam to expand, and it's going to expand most likely through the resistance, through the diagonal, and start looking for horizontal structures to break above, and that would constitute a change of direction, a change of character. That's basically what we want. We don't want any more lower lows and lower highs. We want a higher high or a higher low. So back to market structure right now, is that's what we're looking for here, guys. We need a change of character. We need to see a higher high and a higher low, and this is the perfect time to start seeing beam produce that, because we're pretty much close enough to the apex of this, wedge, this falling wedge, but more importantly at horizontal levels. Horizontal levels where there's tons of emotion. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord, guys. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. See you tonight at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Have a good one. Take care, and don't forget, buy the dip.